Yo. um, welcome back. Welcome back. As always, thank you for taking the time to join me for this episode. As you can probably see, new setting, new environment. It's because I've actually been in the city for the summer, in New York City for the summer. Had this internship, which has gone really well. Unfortunately, it's coming to an end. Tomorrow, actually, it's my last day. So, gonna be back in Jersey as the summer comes to an end, as I get ready to go back to school, senior year. But yeah, it's been a good couple of months, yeah, and it's been a long time since I last posted, so that's entirely on me. I do have episodes lined up that I want to release, and so yeah, look forward, I guess, to more content, new content, relatively soon. It depends on my schedule. But yeah, today's guest is Mr. C, who was the teacher I was in ALP with second semester junior year. So yeah, hope you enjoy. We're live. Hello, Mr. C.
Hello, good morning.
How are you doing?
Good.
Would you like to introduce yourself, as in, I guess, what you are here at Livingston High School? I guess, like, what do you do?
Sure. So my name is Paul Serwancione. I've been a teacher here for 14 years. Prior to that, I taught 1 year in Newark Public Schools. I graduated from Montclair State in 2008 with a health and physical education degree as well as driver's ed cert. And I'm also a Livingston High School alumni, too.
Wow.
Graduated in 2003. So this year will be 20 years since I've graduated, which is kind of scary.
Wow.
But yeah, that's me and my journey to here.
With school coming to an end, do you have any plans for the summer? Are you excited for the end of school?
Yeah, summertime. As I've gotten older, I realize I enjoy more the not having any plans. You know, the school year you have so much planned out, your school day and your schedule and everything. So really, I'm working on a second master's degree, so I'm gonna be doing that over the summer. But just taking day trips. I like to go down the shore and couple of trips down the shore. Really, that's it. That's all I have planned right now.
Yeah.
And then I like to go to concerts, so I go to summer concerts and things like that. I know we've talked about that a little bit. So that's about it. I'm just enjoying my time off.
So as a teacher, you really do get, I guess, the summer off in terms of, I know I talked with some teachers, they say sometimes they use the time to like prep or get other jobs in terms of that, but for you usually take it as time off?
Yeah, I've been coaching football for a long time. So when I say summer's off, yes and no.
Okay.
You know, I have coaching. I'm a volunteer coach now. I've scaled back my coaching a little bit, so I'll go a couple of times a week in the summer to the school I coach at, and but besides for that, I still consider it off time, even though I do coach in the summer as well.
Nice. And looking back over, I guess, this school year with 2022 to 2023, do you have any major takeaways, any favorite moments?
Really, my favorite moment is just being back to a normal school year. I mean, this school year, besides for our cloud scare we had last week, this school year has been kind of normal, which something I've been missing for the past couple of years, and just having my regular classes, being able to do what you want to do, especially in PE, where we were so limited with what we could do over the past couple of years. And being able to have Alps back and adventure, all that regular stuff that I've been doing for the past 14 years that I've missed, I really enjoyed having it back. So no one event in particular, just really happy to be back teaching in a normal setting.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of crazy, right? How many years has it been? 3-4 years almost?
Yeah,
with COVID.
That it's had some sort of effect on how we operate. Yeah, for sure.
I think there's still some aspects that we haven't gotten rid of, but I think, we're definitely moving back towards what we consider normal school, I guess.
Sure.
And outside of school, how was this year? Do you have any favorite non-school activities from September to now?
Not particularly, nothing in specific. Like I said, I coach, so I really enjoy coaching. It gives me a different aspect as compared to when I'm in the classroom. So we had some good moments, some that maybe Livingston wouldn't like to hear about because I coach at a different school now, and we might have beaten Livingston this year in football. So that was kind of a cool moment, sort of a surreal moment, because I coached football at Livingston for 15 years. So
Yeah.
it was kind of weird coming back here to be on the visitor sideline.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's competition, and you still want to win. So that was kind of a cool moment, but also mixed feelings, because you had so much invested in this place. But other than that, like I said, really the biggest thing I've enjoyed was being back with all of you.
And I guess being with Livingston, at least for your high school career, what made you, I guess, really decide to become a teacher and come back? Yeah.
I would say the teachers I had here were a big influence. I've had students come to me now, and I've had friends that I graduated with, and I even remember back in high school, I don't like this teacher I like, but this teacher I don't. I never had that experience. I loved, I should say, all my teachers. They all had great influence no matter what subject, and my coaches were a big influence, and that kind of made me realize that when my playing career was winding down, which was pretty early on for me, I pretty much knew after high school I wouldn't be moving on, that I wanted to pursue something. I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to teach yet. There was a little while where I thought other subject areas might have been, but I knew I wanted to be involved with some sort of teaching and coaching.
I guess, can you provide then some insight into the path you took to become a teacher, as well as you mentioned that you might have maybe been a teacher of another subject.
Mm-hmm.
I guess maybe could you expand on that?
Yeah, sure. So I was either going to be a math teacher or a health and phys ed teacher. Math was my favorite subject in high school. I loved my math teachers. I did really well in it. It just made sense to me. It was maybe it was a logical brain I had or something, and it was something that I really enjoyed. And then in college, even though I went health and phys ed, I went right away. I wasn't undecided in college.
Yeah.
I remember one of my prerequisite courses, and if you all don't know, you have probably half of your college career where you're going to have to take required classes, just like high school.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always get to go right into your major. And I took a calculus class in college, and I was like, this is not for me. I'm very happy that I stuck with the health and phys ed route. But yeah, it was my favorite teachers and coaches were phys ed. My football coach that was here, Bill Tracy, for a long time, he was a phys ed teacher. He was a big influence on me, and I knew that was probably the route I wanted to go. So when I graduated high school, I knew right away to get into health and phys ed. And Montclair State is, in my opinion, the best school in our state for teachers. We have a lot of teachers that have come from Montclair State here. There's other good schools too, so maybe I'm a little biased. It's the only school I've been to, but I don't know. I had a great experience at Montclair. It kept me loving the profession, where sometimes people fall out of love of teaching when they're in college and they go to a different route. So Montclair State really had a major influence on me after my high school influence, and then that got me into looking for jobs. And I already started coaching here when I was finishing college. I started coaching here when I was 20, finishing my degree. So then when a job opened up here, it just made sense. Yeah.
Besides that calculus and math wasn't for you, was there anything else that really stuck with you throughout college? Was there any defining moment that you were like, this really makes me, I guess, like, this is why I studied to become a teacher? Or was there anything particular?
Yes, absolutely. There was some courses that we took. Well, all teachers take these types of courses where you practice writing lesson plans and you practice teaching your lessons in front of other college students in your classes.
Yeah.
And I remember after teaching one being super nervous, because I'm teaching in front of my peers. I'm not teaching younger students, I'm teaching people my age. And we were getting graded by our professor, and I got such good feedback and such a good response from my peers when I thought they were going to kind of not really react well to the lesson or whatever. And that's when it clicked, like, okay, this is something that comes easier to me than maybe other people would. And I felt really confident teaching those classes. And like I said, Montclair State was a big influence on me in helping me realize that I had that gift of educating others, and that kind of propelled me and kept me going.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess throughout your teaching career, what do you look like, or when are you as a teacher at your best? And I guess like when are you the most proud of your work, your students, I guess your ability to teach?
I think, and all of you experience it as being ALPS venture program. Teachers in general, forget my profession, just any subject. I'm sure other teachers have told you this. Good teaching is universal. Doesn't matter. I mean, you could throw a good teacher into any classroom environment and they'll get the job done. To me, my proudest moment is when I can look at my class and barely have to say a word, and they're on task and they're doing the things they're supposed to. And not only that, they're enjoying it, and they're asking, they're even calling me over, like when we do the climbing unit, Mr. C, come watch us climb, or that's the stuff that makes me happy and makes me proud that I'm doing my job. Yeah. That I'm motivating them enough that they become self-motivated to do the things that they have to do in class. So that's probably when I feel at my best.
And would you consider that, I guess, seeing your students be independent and succeed, would you consider that the best part of your job? Do you have maybe a best part of your job, or I guess maybe the worst part of your job?
That's the only thing that matters to me in my job. Yeah. is that students can self-motivate themselves and figure out what they want to do with their lives, whether it's through my class or other avenues in our school. I mean, to me, that's the purpose of teaching, is not to be the smartest teacher in the world, but to make sure that my students become the people that they want to be. So yeah, that's everything to me.
For sure. And I guess why teach, or why were you so particularly drawn to physical education? Because I know, I guess in the context of my schedule as a student, I think phys ed, I see it as a time to spend, of course, with other students, but also I guess more of a time off or a time away from super rigorous like schoolwork or subjects. I think it's a really good time to be able to, I guess, not only be physically active, but like just kind of escape or take a break from the exhausting school day. So I guess like for you, why pursue, I guess, physical education?
First, I think you said it better than I could have said it. I think that's exactly how a lot of students view it, and I think it's really valuable. I think that's one of the reasons why I was drawn to it when I was in high school. I was studious in high school. I did very well academically, but that time like you said, I really enjoyed the social aspect. Was big. I remember being in high school and playing in first class pickleball tournaments, and just like people dripping sweat, like really enjoying it. And even the people that didn't want to go as hard as others, they were in it, and to me that kind of drew me to that profession, and I saw it as a different than sitting in a classroom full of rows where you're listening to lectures. Not that our teachers lectured. I thought, like I said, we have very good teachers, but that traditional classroom setting, I never liked the non-traditional. Just like I always knew I was never going to be sitting at an office in a 9-to-5 type job. I just knew that was not me. I wouldn't enjoy it. So yeah, that's pretty much, now that I'm self-reflecting, I think that's what kind of drew me to it.
Yeah.
Those enticed me to go into that role.
And in this, I guess, special phys ed / health setting, what type of impact do you want to have on your students? I guess, like, what do you want them to take away from their time with you?
I think the biggest impact, or what I want my students to take away, is an appreciation for the subject, yes, but also understanding, I say it all the time in the fitness unit, that you only get one body and mind. And if you take care of it, it'll take care of you. We had a teacher that retired from here a few years ago, Miss Mensch, and she always used to say, love your heart, and your heart will love you back. And I really love that phrase. And that's kind of what I want students to take away, is the importance of what phys ed does for you. I told my class the other day that there were studies done in Europe where students who were struggling in a certain academic course, they were changing their schedules to put phys ed right before the course they were struggling with, because being up and being active and being social helps stimulate brain functioning, makes you more alert just immediately after, and they found that students were doing better in the classes that they were struggling when they would put them phys ed before it. Not that works for every student and it clicks with every student, but to understand how beneficial and how much phys ed is a lifetime skill, if for lack of a better word. It's understanding the benefits of it is beneficial for the rest of your life.
And of course, with COVID, this might have been a little harder, I guess, in terms of direct connection with your students. But do you believe that you've had, I guess, that type of impact on your students? Have you seen, especially with coming back this year, with masks off and stuff like that, do you see your students really embracing that? And
I think so. Yeah, it's like any subject. Some students love it, and some students don't, just like any other subject. So overall, though, I can have those conversations with students that aren't necessarily, I realize aren't clicking with it, and make them realize, hey, put it in this perspective, and at least I can get now that you think about it, I do see that this, and this is beneficial. So I think overall, they understand the benefits, and hopefully they're taking that stuff outside the classroom too, using it outside of school.
As an ALP with our, I guess, more student-based observations, I think, this year it's been pretty clear that, I think students are enjoying themselves in phys ed.
For sure.
Yeah. But now that you've talked for about 15 minutes, I want to, I guess, open up the floor. I'm with Yitao and Madison here, who, if you guys want to ask questions, it's up to you. But also, if you want to ask me any questions regarding the podcast or anything else, I just want to open up the floor.
Yeah, I had a few questions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think first is that, being that you're an alumni at this school, have you seen attitudes towards academics and just social life in general change? And if they have significantly changed, what do you think is the cause of that? And is it anything of concern to you?
I don't think, people may think this is controversial, but I don't think students have changed particularly. I think the students that are walking the hallways now are the same students that were walking here 20 years ago when I was in high school. I think adults' expectations have changed of our kids. I don't know if we always hold our kids to as high a standard as we should. And not a higher standard as, I'm going to hurt you if you don't get an A, but just what we expect. And I think we lower our expectations and assume that students aren't social because of devices and technology and all that. When in fact, if you promote being social in class, you'll find that kids will be just as social now as they were 20 years ago. But you have to set up that environment. You have to set up that culture to do that. So culturally, I think schools can fall into the trap of, we have our one-to-one devices, and it's so much easier to post stuff on Google Classroom or Schoology than it is to have a handout where kids talk to each other. And I get that because I do that too, and especially when I'm in health and driver's ed, I've converted my tests to online tests instead of paper tests. So there's little things there, but I'm not concerned, because I know in my classes what I try to set up is a social environment where people feel comfortable to speak, and especially in health and phys ed, that's essential to the success of the class. So I don't know. I don't think there's been major changes. School-wise, this building's new and things since I was in high school, but I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, I get that.
I'm trying to say you guys are good people, and I think you'll be led in whatever direction adults lead you in, and then you'll be able to make your own decisions when as you grow. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then one more, I guess. If you could go back in time and tell your high school self a piece of advice, or share some wisdom, or any new freshmen coming into this school, what would you tell them?
Be open to change. One of the things in my high school life was I probably changed my group of friends 3 or 4 times throughout high school because kids were doing certain things that I didn't click with. I got involved more in sports when I was in high school, so I started to get closer with those groups of friends and understand that that's okay. I used to teach freshmen for a long time, and I dealt with a lot of issues, especially in health. Issues of friendships and things would come out, relationships, and kids thought it was the end of the world if this kid didn't want to, go to their party or something. And, you have to realize that life is very long, and you will change friends, and that's okay to fall out of friendships and to make new friends too. So especially if I were to talk to a freshman, let's say, like, understand the next 4 years could be very different. Every year could be different, and that's okay. That's part of growing, and that's part of growing into a young adult, in my opinion. So,
For sure.
yeah.
I'm not really good at coming up with questions, so I'm gonna
Don't
ask
say that.
the one
Just
I had
ask it. A
before.
good teacher doesn't say that before they do it. They just ask the question.
The
I'm
one-
sure it's a good one.
No, well, it's the one. Okay. If you could be any mushroom, what would you be, and why?
A mushroom.
Yeah.
Probably a shiitake mushroom.
Why?
I've cooked with them a lot,
Yeah.
and I find them to be more flavorful. They're not that big. For example, I'm like 5'9" on a good day. But I feel I bring a lot of personality and flavor to my teaching style and everything. So that's what I would equate myself the most to.
Wow. Do you have any questions for me in particular, or?
Yeah. How did you get into this podcasting?
Yeah, so for me, it was during the pandemic. I think it's been maybe 2 or 3 years now with this podcast. I haven't been super active, but it's something I do off the side. And then it was last year I started like doing teacher interviews. That was primarily because I think the teacher perspective is, I think, really, I think there's just a lot of experience and a lot of wisdom, I guess, to be learned or to, I think to experience without, or I guess because in a classroom it's difficult to necessarily get to know your teachers as well. Of course, you have the entire school year, but I think being able to ask some of these questions just provides a new perspective on teachers and what they do. But also, I guess for why I started the podcast, during the pandemic, I think it was really hard for, I guess, like to facilitate like good conversations and having that social interaction. So for me, it was almost a way just to be able to talk with people, and just have a good conversation in, I guess, a recorded setting, I guess. But yeah, anything else?
No, I agree. I actually started listening to more podcasts during, like, when the pandemic first hit. I would go on walks and just put headphones in and listen while I was walking, because I wasn't having that social aspect that you talked about. A question for all three of you, really, more along the lines of the ALP program. What made you all want to be involved with the ALP program?
Before we do that, can you actually give some context as to what the ALP program is?
Sure.
Yeah.
So ALP stands for Advanced Leadership Program. So actually, now that I think about it, saying ALP program is kind of redundant because the P is already program.
Yeah.
But we've just always said it that way.
OWL program.
Yeah, AL program. It stands for Advanced Leadership Program, or no, sometimes we say Advanced Peer Leader. That's what it was, something like that. And what they do is sophomore year, really freshman year, you have what we call Venture 1. We have a progression of our Venture Education program. And then Adventure 2, as sophomores, you take and you get trained in the high ropes climbing course. And then your junior year, in the beginning of the year, you get another half of a semester, not even half a semester, half a marking period. I know that's like a forbidden word in the school now. Half a marking period of adventure where you get trained as primary belayers, and you have the opportunity to apply to the ALP program. And what that is if you get accepted, you then later in your junior year get to go into the sophomore classes as student assistants to the adventure teachers. And you help facilitate games, and you help with the high ropes climbing course, and it's a really great program, in my opinion. Out of the whole school, I don't care what subject, whatever it is, it's one of the best programs I think we have in the school. I think it teaches leadership. I think it teaches how to be social, like we talked about before, how to care for others, because you're kind of taking yourself out of the element where I'm going to climb and I'm going to do what's best for me, to now I'm going to do what's best for others. I really think there's a lot of value to it. And as I've said to all of you before, you provide a perspective that I could never have with my students, and that your peers, right? You may see or see into fears that I'm not seeing, that they're worried about, or see dynamics of the classroom that I can't see, because you might know something about them better than I do. So it's a really great program, It's one of I think it's one of the best in the school, and I'm really happy that this was the first group of students since the pandemic that we've really, and I told you guys all in that meeting back in the winter, you guys are starting our program back up again, and I think it's going to be even bigger next year with more participants.
Sure. And so your question was, I guess, to us, why we signed up for it, or why?
Yeah,
we
what made you interested in it? Why did you want to get involved?
I don't know. I just had a lot of fun with like belaying people last year. What?
Do you want to lean? Okay, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I
I had a lot of fun, and I guess I was good at it, and so I was like, okay, why not? So then I asked Yitao, and I was like, I asked Yitao, and I was like, you want to do it with me? And she was like, okay, sure. So we did it.
I guess to add on to that, I like throughout my entire life, gym has always been something that I kind of like dreaded in a bit because I'm not really athletic. I remember very distinctly, like, I almost failed my mile one time when I was in 7th grade, but something that really stuck with me was the adventure unit. Like, I felt like it was the first time I was in a gym class where it wasn't heavily focused on like being athletic, or like you didn't have to be athletic to succeed in it. And so like in 10th grade though, I was really scared, so I really didn't want to like be like primary belaying. So it was like in the start of my junior year that I actually like stepped out of my comfort zone to like actually want to like participate and like get belay certified. And I think the reason why like I signed up was obviously because Matt was doing it, but also I felt like I think a lot of people have this perception that you have to be athletic to like enjoy gym or something. So I feel like I would want to become an ALP so I could like help other kids like also step out of their comfort zone in a way to really see that gym can be more than like running a mile or like having to be super athletic to enjoy it.
Definitely. Yeah, I completely agree with that because I'm also not the most athletic person in the world. I mean, last year I like passed out while running the mile, but no, I definitely agree with Yitao how like it was something that I could actually do that was like fun, and nobody was like making fun of you for how fast you could climb up the wall. Like it was like you climbed it if you wanted to. You could like take charge if you wanted to, which I thought was super cool. So.
Okay. For me in particular, I don't know. I just really enjoyed the climbing unit, and I had Dr. Jones for that, for sophomore year at least. And yeah, I think he was a big influence on me, especially stepping into doing primary belaying and kind of, I guess like leading a team or like building that trust between students to have someone belay you while you're climbing however many feet up into the air. But yeah, I thought it stuck with me, and then going to junior year, I thought it'd be really cool just to be able to interact with a younger class that I usually don't interact with. And so yeah, combining those two was, it just turned out to be a really fun experience.
It's awesome. That makes me very happy. We actually, when we meet and talk about our ALPs, like who we're going to allow, because if the audience doesn't know, not everybody that applies gets into the program. And it's based on, we ask opinions, how they were freshman year, how they were sophomore year. We want to get a sense of what kind of leader they were, what kind of self-starter they were. And sometimes we do come across people, I don't remember what our conversation was with you, Tab, but what you just said stuck out to me, where sometimes a teacher that had somebody freshman year, like, well, they weren't really that good of a phys ed student, they didn't really want to do much and whatever. So we do have those discussions because that is important to know, like, what kind of character this person has. I really want to know about your character. Like, are you a good character person? Because part of Adventure Ed, they've also used to call it character education, too. Teaching people how to act towards each other and things like that. So I love that this unit provides the non-traditional phys ed student. We've said it many times in our meetings. This person or this kid or whoever it is doesn't like the traditional PE setting, maybe the sport activities, the fitness activities, but this unit they love. It clicks with them, and that's what we love about offering this, because we do find that somebody who maybe never liked phys ed, I'm not going to say you never liked it, but maybe you were nervous about it, all of a sudden now this is great. I love this, and that shows when you guys are working with the younger kids. It shows, whether you guys realize it or not. You can see your passion when you help them. And that's what I love about offering this program, and why I love hearing that you guys also feel the same way about this program. It lets us know that we're offering something that can help a lot of people.
That was just a bell, so I will begin to wrap up. But
Sure.
I have some final two questions. So are you satisfied with what you've accomplished as a teacher so far? I know this is a more personal question, but...
Yeah, for sure. I know I've talked to you guys a little bit about me pursuing my administration degree. I think there could be some next steps with that. Sometimes when you get to a point in any career, I would imagine, this has been my only career, where you feel like you've done this much and you can only go so much into helping this many people. And then maybe your next step is, well, how can I help more people? Right? And sometimes that administrative role is like, well, now I want to help teachers. Right? I want to help teachers be better. I want to help, and then in turn, those teachers can help students. So I'm very satisfied with where I've gone so far, but maybe that's down the road. I don't know. We'll see.
And my last question, just to close this out, are you happy?
I'm very happy.
Okay.
This year has made me very happy.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Say goodbye.
Bye, everybody.